brings it up at the time that it's said, not after the event. I'm calling the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, sometimes you hear a new member rise in the House who's capable of assembling an argument, soundly based, is aware of the facts, and frankly the political system is advantaged by it. Sad to say that last speech was not one of those occasions. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand First immigration policy is one that is planned, that is focused. It is in New Zealand's economic and social interests, and it is aware that we already have here significant unemployed, homeless and sick people that we at the last election were required to have regard to. The second thing about New Zealand First immigration policy is that every political party in Asia, no matter where you go, all the way to Turkey, supports the principles behind it. Just in case anybody's going to shout words of xenophobia and racism, you cannot find one political party in any part of Asia, all the way to Turkey, that is not in line with New Zealand's first thinking on this matter. But this bill was pulled out of the National Party's sleeve as a decoy for the scandal that is going on with respect to Epsom and John Banks. That's why they did it out of left field, in the same way as they announced about the same time a change of access to student loans. You can see there's no research behind this bill and there's no hardcore work behind it, and they want us to come out and support them in what is purely a dog whistle. Let me tell that last member who was on his feet that on any given day right now, go and check with the Minister of Immigration, there are 20,000 overstayers in New Zealand. 20,000 in an age of computerisation where with not manually but by, in terms of technology, you can instantly know who has not left. So what the National Party is running is a total circus in immigration at the moment. They've got no idea who's here, what they're doing and why they're here. So don't get up and tell us you've got a bill preparing for the future when the face of the future is with you now and you've got massive overstaying in this country, most of whom I might add are white, not Asian, not Polynesian, not Melanesian, and they don't know who's here. And then they've got a man called Kim.com who paid $10 million with respect to government bonds. $10 million. That much. Bought his way in the country with a criminal conviction. And how on earth he survived the, what they put in ordinary terms, the fat index factor, which is required when you're passing the health certificate, is beyond me. But there he is, 26 stone of him, in this country because for the National Party, assets and placement in this country is for sale. It's a disgraceful policy without one shred of principle at all. Now, they pull this out of their sleeve because the ACT Party's in trouble. Take this legislation back to where it came from and do it properly. New Zealand will be under international scrutiny if and when refugees start landing on our shores. And if they can make Canada, they can certainly make New Zealand. It's a shorter reach from Australia than to get here than to go to Canada. No. We're not going to support a shibboleth. We're not going to support excise and deception. We are not for dog whistle legislation. We are for real policy. If you can't tell me why 20,000 overstayers are here, if you can't tell us why 20,000 overstayers are here, then you have no plan at all with respect to this legislation. Let me ask you this very simple question. Where's your detention facility? Haven't got one, have you? Jerry's place. Oh, you might have one, Mr. Speaker.
Don't bring me into the debate.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. That's the last thing I wanted to do. Where is the National Party's detention centre to go with their much lauded bill in the House today? What's the answer to that question? Not a syllable, not a sound. Not a mutter, not a murmur. Because there is no detention centre to back this legislation up. But they want to look tough. They want to look tough just in case a boat arrived and they can say, oh, the rest of the parties didn't support us. One more time. Where's the detention centre that goes with a detention policy? Oh, Devonport. Oh, that's not a detention centre. You can just walk out the door when you feel like it. That's not what a detention centre looks like in any part of Asia or any part of the world. And does New Zealand really want Christmas Island type of detention centres run by Serco, currently dealing with mass hunger strikes in Australian detention centres? And remember who Serco is? Well, the National Party should, because they also are the private prison contractor for Mount Eden Prison.
That's right.
And in case you just didn't know, Serco is not covering itself in glory running a private prison either. It's having some real problems, and these will be coming out over the next few weeks. But that's the point. Where is the policy, the structure, to back up this statement in the House, which no doubt they'll go around and bore the Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary Club's witless, saying we have got strong policies to meet any contingency. No, they haven't. They've just got a statement that they're doing something and hoping that nobody will notice. We say that if you're going to have legislation, then you need to have full empowerment facilities, both with respect to trained officers and also with respect to facilities themselves. But let me ask you this question. How can you even claim to have an immigration policy or control policy when your customs borders are understaffed massively, and sometimes when there are two boats in the Auckland harbour and planes are coming in, they've got a shortage of dogs, 1 to 3 handlers. They're the handlers. No dog. No dog. Pardon? What did he say? The Labor member that he was admiring really has to be... No, the Labor member that he was admiring must be seriously concerned now. Because if a guy like that admired me, I'd be in trouble. And so would my caucus be. My point is, we all know that our customs facilities are massively understaffed. We haven't got trained animals. All sorts of things are going on. And now we've got a threat, and it is a real threat, that a boat will make this place, will make New Zealand one day. And here they've got a piece of legislation which is not backed up by the impact statement document. This impact document says a mass arrival for this purpose means an arrival by a substantial group of people by sea or air, not on a craft that is providing scheduled international service. I don't know why that's of importance. Not as a crew or passengers on a vessel that is travelling to New Zealand in the ordinary course of business. Frankly, that's the kind of business these people traffickers are engaged in. That is their ordinary course of business. That's what they specialise in. So, in short, you've got here, Mr. Speaker, the piece of legislation that is without any rhyme or reason, without any structure, and is probably compellingly best imaged by the people that put up to speak on it. No, I'm speaking against it. They put the man from Waikato up, and he gives us a story about the whole world wants to come to New Zealand. That's right. And he's for mass immigration. He is. Despite the fact that this country used to be number 2 in the world when we had a seriously focused immigration policy and brought people here that we needed, not those that need us. That's our difference. That's the difference between our policy and that government's policy. Happy to have people can't make hospital, can't get treatment, can't get jobs, can't get homes. And here they are, putting up a policy that they say will prepare us for any contingency. You might call it the Maginot Line policy. The Maginot policy that they've got, right? Yes. And so then come the Germans straight around the Maginot Line, and where history's repeating itself, and here they are, but they've got a bill for detention of 10 or more, excepting they've got no place to put them. And if 500 arrived, they'd have no idea what to do with them. This is a party that once let over 234 people out of detention when they had TB because they said they needed to be reunited with their families for Christmas. Does everybody forget this? That's the National Party's record, time and time again. 20,000 overstayers, got no idea who's here. So frankly, Mr Speaker, this bill is a total waste of time and New Zealand First will not support it.
I call Chris Ockenvold.
Mr Speaker, what an opportunity, one would think, to follow in the